Western world is really unraveling. I spent a few hours and put together a video about the Olympics opening ceremony, which featured a disgusting drag queen fiasco ridiculing Christians via the famous icon of the Last Supper. What did this have to do with sports? Nothing, of course. It was just another opportunity to be seen by millions on TV across the world for a very powerful social and political lobbying group to vomit a decadent woke ideology into an innocent and shocked world audience's lap. The Olympics received an enormous amount of international negative feedback for its celebration of decadence and insults to the Christian faith. So this multi-billion-dollar sports bureaucracy quickly went around censoring any reproduction of the drag queen bullshit throughout the internet via a copyright infringement claim. For example, on YouTube, when I tried to publish my own video, it was automatically censored due to a copyright claim. That's why you won't be seeing pieces of the drag queen video nightmare here, or really anywhere. It's forbidden to show it to prove anything to you.
And the outrage that people are showing towards this is 100% justified, and the backlash has gotten so bad because of all of this that now the Olympics are striking down and copywriting anybody who shares any of these videos that are going around.
Apparently, the official video of Paris 2024 opening ceremony is deleted from Olympics account as viewers' backlash grows. They really should have saw this coming, because you cannot show respect to your people by disrespecting another group of people. When I look at that, and that is the first thing that I think, unprompted, without having even read any other context, I just look at the pictures or the video, and I'm like, yeah, that's definitely the Last Supper. And then you zoom in, and it's this cast of characters that really would seem almost disrespectful in any context. And I don't mean that to be rude, but it's just these people are kind of a mockery to absolutely anything that they claim to represent outside of a queer context. And when you consider how many countries aren't actually woke, you can't expect to shove that down people's throats and have people just be like, I'm glad you gave me that. It's like, no, nobody is glad you gave them that. People are upset, and they have a right to be.
The whole world is watching the Olympics right now, the whole world. And I want to see which athlete is going to boycott this stuff. I want to see which athlete is going to speak out against this devilish act. I want to know, are you going to be participating in it? Are you going to enable it? If none of you speak up, if none of you athletes out there, American athletes in Paris right now that's participating in this Olympic, if you don't speak up, if you don't withdraw, don't come back to America. Don't come back to the States. Stay over there, you damn cowards. You stay in Paris, you damn cowards.
From Andrew Tate. Now, he's Muslim. He says he's Muslim, and so he's calling out the Christians and asking them to respond and see what they're going to do.
Are any Christians going to stop watching the Olympics? Are any Christian athletes going to step down? Are any of you going to do anything after the most blatant mocking, probably in history, of Jesus Christ? Or are you all going to sit there and do absolutely nothing and talk about how somehow, in the end, it'll be fine?
This Olympics drag queen nightmare show is profoundly disturbing for multiple reasons. The first is, of course, the fact that for many millions of people across the globe, a grossly offensive LGBTQ celebration of debauchery, defaming Christians everywhere, was shoved into surprised people's faces. The second, equally horrifying reason is that the Olympics mafia then went around demanding censorship of its drag queen hedonistic display from public view. Bear in mind, this censorship emanated from the Olympic bureaucracy in France, where this year's Olympics was held, a country that claims one of the richest histories about freedom and liberty on the planet. Today's morphing woke ideology, however, has suffocated that. There used to be a tradition of freedom in the Western world wherein anything is open to critical inquiry, and parts could be routinely excerpted from books, movies, and other media sources if anyone wishes to examine and criticize them. No more! We live in a world of increasing Orwellian left-wing woke censorship. I'm retired, but I was fired, canceled from the last job I had for daring to speak truth to power. And you don't have to be pounding a Bible to recognize evil, satanic or otherwise, when you see it. Of course, that's the whole censorship point here. Those who created the monster drag queen frolic over Christian tenets forbid you now from viewing it, lest you realize what you're looking at and how you are being manipulated, how decadence is becoming completely normalized throughout popular culture, even in sports. And don't get me started about how so many of the world's elite athletes have become pharmaceutical company drug addicts. But the Olympics opening ceremony, what does the celebration of a virtual nightmare of debauchery, hedonism, homosexual obsessions, and decadence have to do with sports? The Olympics even, which has traditionally, supposedly, been an environment where the athletes of numerous nations gather together in a spirit of fair competition and mutual respect. Nothing. On the contrary, such a grossly debasing performance is antithetical to the tolerance of other beliefs, faiths, and creeds. And make no mistake, such wildly exhibitionist hedonism is itself a religion, albeit a secular, hedonistic one. Imagine the sensorial wave that would happen if the Olympic opening ceremonies were constructed as a Christian mass, with constructs to insult, attack, and degrade the gay community.
And this person in the middle, again, clearly is supposed to be Jesus, and everybody else's table is supposed to be this person's disciples, including a child who's at the table as well too. So somebody please educate me, right? Please inform me. Why in the world would you have a child at a hyper sexualized rendition of The Last Supper featuring a bunch of drag queens?
They've not only insulted more than half of their own country, but the rest of the world.
And they're trying to make this commonplace. They are trying to make the things that we are seeing before us make it seem as though it's okay, it's normal.
The Last Supper, as Christians see it, and the remake, where the Last Supper has been imagined by drag queens. And who amongst them is, according to the Christians, God? Well, God is being shown as a plus-size woman. Yes. In other words, a large woman, yeah? Overweight woman. Let's be frank. She's playing, according to Christians, God. And the Christians, you know what the Christians are saying on social media? You know what the response of many of the online Christians is? Oh, if this was done about Muhammad, peace be upon him, the Muslims will be up in arms.
By the time they'd stopped, at least 12 people were dead. Many others were seriously injured. The police were quickly on the scene, only to come under attack themselves. Images posted on social media capture the drama.
Et on retrouve les voitures abandonnées.
What does the celebration of a virtual nightmare of debauchery, hedonism, homosexual obsessions, and decadence have to do with sports? The Olympics even, which has traditionally, supposedly, been an environment where athletes of numerous nations gather together in the spirit of fair competition and mutual respect. Nothing. On the contrary, such a grossly debasing performance is antithetical to the tolerance of other beliefs, faiths, and creeds. And make no mistake, such wildly exhibitionist hedonism is itself a religion, albeit a secular, hedonistic one. Imagine the sensorial wave that would happen if the Olympic opening ceremonies were constructed as a Christian mass, with constructs to insult, attack, and degrade the gay community. I used to be a photographer, a videographer. I often even had a formal press pass, and I spent years documenting all sorts of public events in America. Here's one I videotaped in the mid-1990s, the official Gay Pride Parade in West Hollywood, California. Under the official Gay Pride umbrella, there was this float, one that featured a bunch of leather-clad guys whipping each other, that awakened me to the true nature of diversity and tolerance in the homosexual context and the woke secular religion generally. Self-destruction and harming others were tolerated just as much as anything else, because once the sacred diversity flag is raised, it is impossible to make moral judgments and screen anything out. America and the Western world generally is dying. Strength speaking, it has lost its balls, as have so many emasculated men within it. Among the latest enforced fads is the fact that many people can't even tell if they're male or female. The last time I looked, even fruit flies, bats, pigs, vipers, baboons can do that. Dare to criticize this kind of decadent sensationalism, and you're decried to be a homophobic bigot, a hater of the sacred secular virtues of tolerance and diversity. But clearly, such a sordid Olympic-sponsored display that commands such a broadly mainstream public venue internationally are invented to demand a negative reaction from you. Such people, such a worldview feeds on your disgust. It craves your revulsion, even your hatred, to feel good about themselves. The self-decreed oppressed, even as they increasingly inundate spheres of Western society to their worldview, need to keep the claim to victimhood spinning. They go out of their way to despoil your path, spitting in your face, shitting on whatever you hold as holy, throwing metaphorical bricks through your window as, minding your own business, you prepare to watch a supposed sporting event. They overtly solicit, beg for your shocked and hostile reaction. Then routinely comes the claim that you are intolerant. Intolerant to diversity, intolerant to the oppressed, to those who slip off their pink tutus to hump a sheep in a barn, to those who whip each other on a float at a gay pride parade, to the growing rainbow cascade of an increasingly perverted and lost humanity. Where are we going with all this? What does such a sensationalist homosexual spectacle breed, if not children? More and greater sensationalism, of course, grotesque endeavors that try to outdo the last, something more bizarre and offensive to move such people up the proverbial charts, a la Lady Gaga, who also performed for the Olympics. But wait! Would they like to live in one of the dozens of countries, mostly in Africa, the Middle East, Asia, where it's illegal to be gay? Where, in some, you might even get legally killed for it. That would be Brunei, Iran, Mauritania, Saudi Arabia, Yemen, parts of Nigeria, Afghanistan, Pakistan, Qatar, Somalia, and the United Arab Emirates. The other few dozen nations are where you can feel safe and that you're only going to jail.
Africans are getting bombarded by high-ranking officials from the Western world, by ministers and people that are in positions of power, flying and coming to Africa to lecture Africans on how to be democratic, how to accept the LGBTQ, and how Africans need to follow the footsteps of the Western world.
So, as reported by reporter Simon Ateba, he said the students were saying, "We don't want your pro-gay money. We want and love our country more than money." So basically they're saying there's nothing that you could offer us to go against what we believe to be right. You can't tell people what to do in their country. And so those students are like, your money ain't good here, Joe Biden. Keep whatever it is you think that we want or what you can keep from us, but we good over here. We gonna do us and you do you. So I say big ups to them for not allowing the United States of America to bully them around and tell them what they can and cannot do in their own country, because the United States will never allow another country to tell them what they can do.
In Kenya, to be gay, the LGBT community is illegal. They just want to have equal rights, the same privacy and equality as all other Kenyans do. Is that something that you aspire to for your country?
I want to be very clear, Christiana. I will not engage in a subject that is of no, it is not of any major importance to the people and the Republic of Kenya.
And while we're at it, per offense, in an Olympic Games production that is supposed to respect all nations, among them traditional Christian, Muslim, Buddhist, Hindu, and other tenets, who thinks dozens of such anti-gay countries were thrilled to see some man's balls hanging out and any religious faith replaced by a kind of sacrosanct decadence, an advocacy force, a lobbying force that routinely defames its critics as bigots and declares itself to be above what's to them a moral crime? Simple criticism.
Clearly, there was never an intention to show disrespect to any religious group. On the contrary, I think that Thomas Joly really tried to really intend to celebrate community tolerance. That was his word yesterday. And looking at the result of the polls that we shared, we believe that this ambition was achieved. If people have taken any offense, we are of course really sorry.
Here's some of the things that were said. Clearly there was never an intention to show disrespect to any religious group. Give me a break. So we have a group of drag queens cavorting in a kind of sexually provocative way, clearly an imitation of Da Vinci's Last Supper, which presents to the world the Last Supper of Jesus. And no disrespect was meant. You think anyone takes that seriously? I love this. We tried to celebrate community tolerance. Yeah, tolerance. Except for those pesky 2.6 billion Christians on the planet. Everyone's welcome. Everyone's tolerated. All this lovely diversity until you get to anyone that disagrees with your ideology. Like these 2.6 billion people. So don't give me this business about tolerance and diversity.